the town's business if they would give us some consideration on that loan, because we were gonna have to pay the loan. So, we did get it, I talked to them, and I got it down to 6%. Now, we're looking at, as soon as we can establish an accurate cost for the destruction of the building and the building of the parking lot, we will bond that, BAN.
So that would go through the normal channels of
Right.
approvals?
Yes, yes. Now, the way this was done before was that they cobbled this all together, and you know, I have to assume that Dave Grogan's and Fran Penarola, you know, were within the law to set this thing up, and it decided, that was why it was handled, and I signed that lease, or the loan.
What would happen if the town refused to go along with the bonding resolution? Who's on the hook for that borrowing?
We
from
would
Newtown?
still be, the town is on the hook for the money,
The town's on the hook for the money.
yep. But if we can bond it, from 6%, we'll probably get down to 2, maybe possibly 3% interest on a loan, on a bond issue.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand how the selectmen or whoever signed the lease could bind the town for $3-point-something million of borrowing without going through the normal channels of bonding, and I guess maybe some attorney might have to explain that to us.
Well, yeah, I think they would, because I was not involved in the details of this operation. It was
Yeah, I
done by
understand.
Fairfield Hills Authority in order to meet the requirements.
Yeah, but Mr. Chairman, do you think it's advisable for us to be clued in on that? Or, Jim, were you going to
Yes.
say something? You said yes. Yeah.
The bonding that's being done is being done by the town of Newtown, correct?
For this, the NAY, or the
Yeah.
one that was done tonight?
No, for the NAY.
Yeah. Yes, it's being
And-
done by
and
the
this-
town.
And what we're talking about, what we're talking about, though, is this is a project which certainly would qualify under the CIP, right?
Yeah,
So why wasn't it presented as a package to go into the CIP to the Board of Finance for approval? Or its recommendation, actually. I guess then we would have to recommend that it be added to the CIP under exigent circumstances, and then it would go to Legislative Council. I'm wondering why that didn't happen.
well, you'd have to get that answer from Dave Brogans, I'm afraid.
I would disagree with that response, Joe.
I'm sorry?
I would
disagree as
disagree
well.
with that response.
You would disagree or agree?
I disagree.
Okay.
I do not agree.
Attorney Grogan's is counsel for the town.
That's right.
He's not the individual who's
He
the
can't-
elected official
no, he-
responsible
no, I know
for
that.
steering it through the proper channel.
Nor is he the authority in town that can encumber debt.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah. But they were, I don't know whether Fran was involved with it, but I know that Dave Grogan's put together the lease, which obviously I signed.
Well, it appears that the fundamental issue, Joe, is that there seems to be an obligation coming down the pike that we all know is coming, okay? And that obligation seems to have been out there for some time, correct?
Right?
And it would be clear to me that the Board of Selectmen knew that we were gonna have to undertake this responsibility in the deal that was entered into, correct?
Yeah.
So why isn't it in the capital improvement plan?
I can't answer that question.
Can I ask another question? Joe, with respect to a question that I had asked and you were kind enough to provide, one of my questions had to do with, also with Fairfield Hills, specifically with the building maintenance contract.
With the what?
The building maintenance contract?
Yeah.
And I asked why the town couldn't do or absorb the operation work of the Fairfield Hills. And I think your response is The town is responsible for the maintenance of the municipal buildings, utilities, maintenance, et cetera. I cannot see why the town can't absorb the new municipal building in its operations. So basically, instead of going to outside contract, our own public works, police, et cetera, could absorb that without any additional costs?
Well, I don't know whether without any additional costs, is that Maria DeMarco submitted that as a proposal to the town, that she would be interested in, you know, maintaining and managing the Bridgeport Hall. And we're taking that under consideration. We'll have to, when Fred Hurley gets back from his vacation, we'll have to sit down and discuss that with him, whether it's something that we can handle within the funding that she's talking about.
Is that request in the budget?
I'm sorry?
Is that request for those funds in the budget?
I don't, do we have it in the,
Request for what?
for the Maria DeMarco's management?
Well, that's what you're looking at. I think the savings could be that if it's not contracted out, we're going to save the fee plus the related payroll and administrative costs, which is approximately $40,000. So in other words, we would call up the contractors to cut the grass, and we'll pay the utility bills. I'm not sure about security. We may have to contract security, but we'll be paying the security. It won't be done by an outside contractor. So you would at least save the administrative costs in there.
So is,
See,
So is it
staying on the security for a minute, the Newtown Police Department, you know, the roads are all now town roads over there. They can do the patrol on the road, but they are not allowed to get out of their cars and go around checking doors or looking for broken windows or something like that. That's why we have the contracted security people under DeMarco.
why is that?
Because
Why
they,
can't a police officer for the town of Newtown get out of his vehicle in Fairfield Hills?
Michael's right here, you can ask Michael.
Okay, chief.
What do we do to the town hall?
We don't have officers inside the
Police
town
can
hall.
get out and certainly search, buildings, and we do that routinely anyways. I mean, it's just a matter of how closely we can do that. So we can't get behind some of those buildings behind here because they're fenced off. Typically, when you look at a commercial building and an officer's checking it, he's checking it usually in his patrol car with the available illumination he can get off of that. When you're talking about actually physically getting out, checking doors, checking windows behind buildings, where you can't get your car in. I think that's the difference there.
But you would be chief, you'd be patrolling it just like you patrol any other commercial establishment, correct?
Yes.
Or any public establishment?
You don't come to my house and check my doors, I hope.
No, we don't.
So I wouldn't assume you would go check the doors of the Fairfield Hills.
The places that are vacant.
Not since
which
last
are-
Saturday.
Which are subject, the places that are vacant, which are subject to illegal entry, those are the places that we normally check. And those are usually done on the midnight shift. So that's part of their duties and responsibilities.
And when they find security people out of there, when they find something that's out of order, they immediately call the police. And a patrolman, I guess, arrives and they take it from there, but they're the ones that are looking for the broken windows or false entry, you know, even though we've boarded up all the doors and windows on the first floor with plywood, these people have ways of getting in there, and before you know it, they're partying in there, and unless there's some indication, the police patrolling in a car is never gonna see it.
Or to what extent?
But that's not saying that the town force to do that job instead of having DeMarco doing it and putting her overhead on top of the cost of the security.
What's the total contract for the DeMarco? It's 100 and, what was the?
Was detailed, didn't it?
New municipal building or Fairfield Hills?
No, Fairfield Hills, DeMarco's.
Are you talking about Fairfield Hills or the
Yeah.
new municipal building?
No, yeah, well, Bridgeport Hall. Well, it's actually security for the whole site, all the grounds.
Does the town employ any other security outfit to maintain or watch any other town site?